Every day, inside quiet, climate-controlled rooms, special collections librarians carefully examine centuries-old manuscripts. They check bindings, record damage, and digitize pages before time degrades them completely. It is patient, meticulous work. Because the primary goal here is preservation, researchers rarely expect to find an active historical secret. The job is to catalog the past, not investigate it. But on one particular morning, a specific 16th century theological volume stood out. It didn't catch the librarian's eye because of its title or its age. It drew attention simply because it felt unusually heavy. At first, the extra weight seemed easy to explain. Moisture damage, rebinding, or extra parchment hidden inside the cover are all common possibilities. But as the pages were carefully turned, tiny handwritten notes emerged, crowding the margins. Students and priests have filled margins with commentary for centuries. These annotations, however, did not behave like scholarly writing. Toward the middle of the book, the handwriting grew tighter, faster, and less controlled. The writer had stopped caring about neatness, working instead with a frantic energy. The unexpected weight effectively ended the routine archiving process, forcing researchers to treat the volume as a forensic site. The immediate barrier was the ink itself. After nearly 500 years, the writing was so faded it was barely readable under ordinary light. In the digitization lab, techniques like ultraviolet scanning bounce specific wavelengths of light off the vellum, pulling invisible ink back to the surface. The first translated lines matched expected contents, standard religious expressions of guilt, sin, and moral weakness. Then the grammar abruptly shifted. Instead of speaking about spiritual struggle, the writer began describing physical events, movement, darkness, and blood. One translated sentence stood out. "I struck him because silence was the only witness." Translating the rest of the text proved difficult because the writing was heavily disguised. 16th century writers frequently used regional shorthand, substituting symbols for entire phrases. And here, religious terminology was used to mask descriptions of violence. Paleographers and linguists were brought in to decipher the regional shorthand and isolate the specific vernacular used to hide the writer's intent. They initially assumed the violence was symbolic, but the text provided highly specific details about actual locations and property boundaries. These were literal memories. Stripping away the faded ink and regional shorthand revealed a first-hand forensic account of a killing. The investigation shifted direction entirely when a new phrase emerged from the margins. "I carried him beyond the eastern stones, where no priest walks." The manuscript moved beyond providing emotion. It provided exact coordinates. To test if this confession described a real place, historical researchers began cross-referencing the manuscript's translated landscape descriptions against cartographic records from the 16th century, establishing a historical baseline. Comparing modern geography to a 500-year-old text is a massive challenge. Most of the era's roads, forests, and smaller landmarks degraded and vanished long ago, but some features remain stable. Researchers found a ruined boundary marker, the Eastern Stones, recorded in parish documents. They mapped the exact stream mentioned in the text, still flowing today, and an abandoned chapel matching the writer's repeated references. Verifying those precise coordinates proves the text is a literal map to a real location, confirming the physical reality of the crime. With the location verified, the investigation pivoted to searching for a human identity. Investigators turned to centuries-old regional land records to track specific names. Scanning these continuous lines of dense black ink, one surname appeared repeatedly within the ownership archives. The records revealed that the suspect was a highly educated, wealthy, and respected landowner, someone history remembered as honorable. His pristine societal reputation acted as the ultimate camouflage. He was exactly the kind of individual who could afford an expensive theological manuscript in the 1500s, keeping him entirely above suspicion. But a name and a property deed is not definitive proof. To tie the landowner to the crime, historians now face one final hurdle: matching the frantic, coded handwriting in the margins to the landowner's officially preserved signature. By applying multispectral imaging to these forgotten margins, researchers have turned a 500-year-old attempt at silence into a readable record. It suggests that even the most private admissions can be pulled back into the light 5 centuries later.